Have you ever wondered how big companies seem to know what their sales will be next quarter? Or how economists even begin to predict where the stock market is headed? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the coolest tools they use for exactly that, the ARIMA model.
I mean, it's a huge question, right? How do we know what's coming next? Whether we're talking about finance or, something a little more unusual. The source material we're digging into today uses this really fascinating data set to make the point. The age at death of English kings, one after the other. It sounds totally random, but is it?
Now, the easy way out is to just look at a chart, see the line going up, and say, yep, it's going to keep going up. That's a guess. But a really intelligent forecast does something way smarter. It doesn't just look at the trend. It tries to understand the data's personality, its DNA, its patterns, its history. And this is the whole game right here. What if a piece of data isn't just an isolated number? What if what happened yesterday has a real, measurable impact on what happens today? This isn't just a hunch. We're talking about a real statistical connection. It's the idea that data actually remembers its past.
This is where our hero of the day comes in, the ARIMA model. I know, auto-regressive integrated moving average sounds like a total mouthful, but don't worry about the name. Just think of it as a special kind of machine that's built specifically to listen to that memory in the data and use what it learns to tell us about the future.
So how do we actually build one? Well, we're going to go on a little three-step mission. Think of ourselves as detectives. Our goal is to find three secret numbers, our clues, that are represented by the letters P, D, and Q. If we can find those three values, we've basically cracked the code for our forecast.
All right, let's dive in. First things first, we have to find some stability. See, ARIMA models have a rule. They only work with data that's predictable, or what statisticians call stationary. This first step is our hunt for that clue, D.
So what the heck is a stationary time series? Okay, imagine a super calm, lazy river just flowing along at the same level. That's your stationary data. It's predictable. Now picture a wild, chalky river with rapids and floods. That's non-stationary. You just can't predict a river like that. Our job is to calm the river down. And this brings us right back to our kings. When you look at the raw data of their ages, it's all over the place. The average age wanders up and down over the centuries. It is not a calm river. So we can't build our model on this, at least not yet. So what's the fix? It's a surprisingly simple but really powerful trick called differencing. Instead of looking at the actual ages, we're just going to look at the change in age from one king to the next. And boom! That little move strips out that wandering trend and makes everything stable.
And you know what? For our King's data, we only had to do that one time. Taking that first difference was enough to calm the river down and make it stationary. And just like that, we found our first clue. The D in our ARIMA model is 1. Awesome. 1 down, 2 to go. Okay, so our data is stable. Now the real detective work begins. It's time to sift through the now stable data for patterns, because we're going hunting for our last two clues, P and Q.
Remember we talked about data having a memory? Well, that concept has a fancy name, autocorrelation. It's literally just a way to measure how much today's data point is connected to yesterday's, or the one before that, and the one before that. It's the key to truly understanding that memory.
Okay, every detective needs their tools, right? Well, this right here, this is our secret decoder ring. Our tools are two special charts. One is called the ACF, which shows us the total memory from past points, including all the echoes. The other is the PACF, and it shows us just the direct influence from a past point. And the shapes of the patterns on these charts tell us exactly what P and Q are supposed to be.
So we take our now stable King's data and run these charts. And what we see is a classic textbook pattern. The ACF chart, the one for total memory, it shows this one big spike right at the beginning, and then poof, it just drops off a cliff into nothing. It's a super sharp cutoff.
Okay, time to check our decoder ring. A sharp cutoff on the ACF. What does that mean? It points us to something called a moving average model. Basically, it means our forecast is influenced by past mistakes, but only the most recent one. The memory is super short. Since it cuts off right after that first point, our Q is 1, and that means our P has to be 0. We've got them.
So let's put it all together. Our P is 0, our D is 1, our Q is 1.
The model that describes the ages of these kings is an ARIMA 011. That's it. We've cracked the code that was hiding in the data all along.
Okay, so we built the model. That's awesome. But what's the point? Well, this is the payoff. Now we actually get to use it to predict the future. And this is just as important, we have to find out if our model is actually any good.
We feed our data into our shiny new ARIMA 011 model, and we ask it, okay, what's next? What's the average age of death going to be for the next 5 kings? And the answer it spits out is about 67.8 years.
A number is just a number, though. The real question is, can we actually trust it? I mean, how do we know we didn't miss something? How do we know this model is legit? Honestly, this might be the most important question of all.
It's time for what I like to call a model autopsy. Here's the deal. A good model should explain everything that's explainable in the data. All that should be left over is just random noise. These leftovers are called residuals, and we put them under the microscope. Are they just random static? Is their average basically 0? If so, we're in good shape.
And the verdict is in. The source material runs a fancy statistical test on those leftovers, and the result is a p-value of 0.851. Now, you don't have to be a statistician to get this part. In this test, a high number is good. It's really good. It basically means our leftovers look like pure random static. Our model gets a clean bill of health.
So let's just zoom out and recap the whole journey, right? It's really a 3-step dance. Step 1, make the data stable to find your D. Step 2, play detective with those charts to find P and Q. In step 3, make your prediction and then check your work. Always check your work.
So what are the big things to remember from all this? First, ARIMA is all about capturing the memory in your data. Second, that whole PDQ thing isn't some dark art, it's just a logical process. And finally, and I can't say this enough, you have to check your model's errors. A prediction without validation is just a guess.
You know, when you think about it, this whole process is kind of amazing. It takes something that looks totally messy and random, and it finds a hidden logic, a story. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other patterns are out there all around us in our daily lives, just waiting for someone to come along and listen?